Senator from Florida is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I came here to the floor of the Senate to talk briefly about an amendment that we may or may not get a vote on. It's an amendment by my colleague, Senator Paul. And it really is directly related to the issues that have happened around the world in the last week and a half. We certainly watched in horror as our ambassador, a fantastic and honorable American, along with 3 of his colleagues in the American consulate in Benghazi, was murdered last week. And so I wanted to talk briefly about that because it really is an important moment in our foreign policy in the region. But I think it's important for us that while we have the right to be angry, we should still remain smart in our foreign policy. And I want to talk about today is what it means to have a smart foreign policy, a pro-American foreign policy in that region of the world, given these factors that we're facing. Now, the amendment that Senator Paul is asking for a vote on would condition foreign aid of 3 particular countries. And so let me begin my conversations by saying that this is a complicated issue, and not all these countries are the same. So these dictators are not good for the region and not good for America. And the choice should not be between dictators and democracies. The second fallacy is, well, we'll just have an election, everything will be better. That's not true either. Democracies can elect people that don't like us too. So this is not an easy issue to confront. But disengaging from the region is not the solution. Now, I don't have a magic solution, and I've only been here in the Senate for about a year and a half. So these are issues that I'm engaging in for the first time over the last year. But here are my opinions, given what I've learned in the first 2 years that I've been here. It's just some points that I'd like to make. This stuff isn't happening because of a video and because people are upset. You know what? Let me explain something to you. For radical Islam, our entire culture is offensive. They're not just offended about a YouTube video. They're offended that women serve in the U.S. Senate. They're offended that women drive. They're offended that little girls get to go to school. In some of these countries, converting to Christianity is punishable by death. So our whole culture is offensive to them, not just a YouTube video. Here's the third point we have to accept. We will support those. Look, this is a critical moment, not just for America. This is a critical moment for the Muslim world, where they have to decide what kind of future they want for themselves. Is this the future that they want? A future isolated from the world? A future isolated from the promise of the 21st century? Or do they want a different future? I know that there are millions of people in the Muslim world that don't want this future, but they are afraid to speak up. They are intimidated from speaking up because of these radical forces that need to be defeated. Which brings me to my last point. We need to be very clear. We will support those who want a better future. Like we should have supported the Green Revolution in Iran, when young, brave Iranians took to the streets to protest a fraudulent election, and instead of taking their side, the president disengaged and said nothing. We will support those who want a new future and a better future for their region. We're not asking them to abandon their religion or their beliefs, but they have to respect ours. We're not asking them to walk away from the Quran, but they have to respect our beliefs and tolerate our beliefs as well. We'll support those who are willing to do that. We want to work with them. It benefits no one to have violence and disruption in the region. But we also have to accept the hard, cold fact that there are people, there are radical Islamists in that part of the world that you can never and will never be able to reason with. They are never going to change their mind. They are never going to come around. They are never going to one day all of a sudden change their behavior because we engage them more, because we give more speeches at their universities. They are radical Islamist, violent people. And it's a very clear choice. Either they win or we win. And the sooner we accept that, the better off we're going to be. So we have to accept that on the one hand, there are millions of people in that region that want a new, better future. We will side with them. We will support their aspirations. We will work with their hopes for civilian leadership and peace and economic prosperity. But for those that are radical Islamists, whose view is that they want to conquer and bring under their control everyone who is not who they are, we have to defeat them. I wish it weren't the case, but it is. And the sooner we accept that, the clearer our policies are going to be. So this is not just a critical moment for America and our foreign policy. This is a critical moment for them as well, where they're going to have to decide if Egypt truly wants a better future for their people, one where their economy is growing and is prosperous, and young people can fulfill their aspirations, they are going to have to unequivocally reject this kind of stuff, or they're going to be trapped in the 18th century forever.